Well, good evening and welcome to the Psychic Coffee Shop. I'm Aeson Knight, and with me tonight in the coffee shop, returning very quickly with her new book, is Lisa. How are you, honey?
I am terrific. Just I've got my little suck of coffee here and all
Uh,
ready to go.
exactly. And you're doing so, this is your second book out, The Akashic Knowing. So you've took on, your first book was Akashic Soul Path, and you've done some magic with it.
Right. This is actually my fourth book. This is my
Fourth book.
second book this year.
Yeah, that's it.
Right.
Yeah.
So I know. So yes, four books all about the Akashic records, how to access your records, all about your soul plan, healing through some of the energy healing prayers, and the newest and greatest, let's see, Kasha.
Yeah, Akasha,
You
talking
always
about
break up
what
when
it
you.
is. So what's this one doing about?
Wow. Well, so this one is so fabulous because what I really did is, because I've been writing these books for the last 8 years now, I really brought everything that I've been teaching together in this book, Akasha.
Hmm.
So I really go deep into what the Akashic records are, who are your record keepers, why should we care, right? So
Hmm.
so helping people who have heard about the Akashic records but haven't, taken any deep dives. So I take everybody deep so that you can really understand the gift of the Akashic records,
Okay,
about your soul plan, and so much more.
right. So let's start from the beginning because Akashic Records has been a heated discussion going on in popular culture right now. What are they?
The Akashic record is the recording of your soul's journey throughout all time space continuum. So the idea that I love to hold is that since you individuated from source millions or billions or trillions of years ago, your soul started journeying through the multiverse, through the galaxies, and everything you have ever been or done is recorded in this etheric field that we call the Akasha.
Hmm.
Now, when you take that from kind of a weird, grandiose idea and start to make it a little bit more accessible, the idea is that every lifetime would be a book if you were imagining it as a library. And of course, I
Hmm.
think, library is a good kind of idea to wrap our brains around. So we have thousands and thousands and thousands of books in our personal library, as well as having our own personal Akashic record keepers who are there in service to help us find the appropriate books to answer the questions that we are asking.
Hmm. And these books are files. We're not talking those permanent records they kept threatening us with in school, are we?
Well, it does record everything we have ever been or done.
Uh huh.
And yet, of course, because it's part of the quantum field of source,
Hmm.
there is the ability to check in, to do some really profound healing through this quantum field.
Hmm.
Um, when we have completed karmic patterns, which means when you learned and got that lesson,
Hmm.
you can start to update and upgrade some of these records or files or stories that we often hold. But we cannot delete them. We can't be like, ew, I don't want that. I didn't like that life. That didn't sound good. I don't want to finish the karma. It
Right.
doesn't work that way. But we can look into who we've been, what we've done, what we've learned, and really glean so much information from those other lifetimes to support us in being on our greater soul path and purpose in this lifetime.
Right. Now, that theory that we can go and just like self-edit what we done when we done it, is it even possible in your point of view?
Well, a tricky question, honestly, because we can do healing, and I have seen people's kind of past life records transform when a karmic pattern is complete, when a soul contract is complete. They're kind of updated or upgraded,
Mm-hmm.
so we can let go of some of that emotional pain and trauma. But that doesn't mean that you weren't a terrible person or you didn't get burned at the stake. But
Right.
what we can do is clear the trauma that may be affecting your body in this life,
Mm-hmm.
because you don't need to continue to feel that pain. That's not
Right.
useful.
Right.
And then we can reclaim some of the wisdom that you learned from that experience.
Right. So with that, or with the view of that, are we talking more we can fix the cell memory?
That's a good way of saying it, I have to say. So, what the record keepers say
Mm-hmm.
is that we're very infinite and complex beings. So,
Right.
through a big trauma, say you got burned at the stake. Well, you were maybe a midwife, or you might have been a great healer, but you were far from a witch, right? So
Right.
you get burned at the stake, and there's your family watching, and there is, oh my gosh, let's talk about so much emotional trauma, right? We've got
Right.
abandonment, we've probably got hatred. Maybe we're making a vow to never be a healer again. We've
Mm.
got, soul contracts with that child maybe who's watching you die, right?
Right.
So we can go into those files
Mm-hmm.
from what we've learned, from the forgiveness that we've done in this life and other lives,
Mm-hmm.
from the greater understanding of the some of the whys. Why would that ever happen to me? Because a lot of
Right.
these things are about our soul growth. And so, in that way, not only can we start to release the stuck energy, because the trauma of dying, right,
Right.
in that sort of way, creates trauma in the body, and it can create so much trauma in the soul that we have a soul splinter.
Okay.
Right. So when a soul splinters into a piece, now again, remember that you have this vast soul. So when you lose a splinter, it's not that much,
Major.
that life
Right.
kind of at size energy compared to infinite soul size energy.
Right.
But when we can go in and clear some of the emotional pain that's stuck in the energy field, in
Mm-hmm.
the Akashic records, often stuck and feeling it in the physical body,
Mm-hmm.
we can do healing work around that. And then the energy, the kind of the story shifts.
Right.
So we may still die,
Right.
but kind of the trauma releases, maybe the life changes almost in a way where there's no child watching, it kind of works out differently. And then we can go in and reclaim those gifts and talents and really do a soul retrieval, an Akashic soul retrieval, to retrieve that splintered soul and bring it back into wholeness with the rest of the soul.
Right. That's working with the theory of cell memory, whereas you've got example, there was a woman that lived in New York, and all of a sudden she turned 38 years old and couldn't cross bridges. Well, that's a problem there.
Right, right.
Okay, I think we're starting to, so, she went and done some past life regression and some Akashic work and found out that, in the like 4 lifetimes, she had been on bridges that collapsed.
Oh, right.
Okay, so that had built up that trauma there that was not only in the Akashic, but blended down into her current life path and created this unreasonable fear. And once that was released, once that was worked with and worked out through, I think, a couple sessions, and then they were able to, also work with her librarian. I've always been trained to call them the Akashic guardians,
Mhm.
um, they were able to neglect that, and she was able to get to like have no problem with bridges anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, but what you're really doing, or the way I
Mhm.
would do it through the
Right.
quantum field of the Akash, is that I would go into those lives and actually release more of the trauma that she experienced in that lifetime, which is not
Right.
really valid or viable now. So
Right.
we can literally go in and unstick that physical pain and that
Right.
emotional pain, what I just refer to as, kind of all of those kinds of trauma. So we can
Mhm.
actually kind of blow up and release some of these balls of trauma. And what goes with them are those
Mhm.
vows. Can you imagine standing on a bridge, thinking, I will never, right? We make a vow. That's I will always or I will never,
Yeah.
and they're very sticky energy. So if you say, I will never cross another bridge in my life, there you
Right.
are. There she is going like, can't do it. I just can't do it. I
Right.
physically, and then maybe there were some soul contracts that had to
Mhm.
do with, um, maybe her helping, maybe in a life she came back as a bridge builder to help build a good, better
Good
bridge that
bridge.
didn't
Yeah.
collapse, or
Right.
make laws about building bridges. So they're interesting things because they are often very intricate into
Mhm.
the whole plan and the why. It's
Right.
usually not pure randomness. There might be
Mhm.
some randomness in there, but
Right.
rarely pure randomness that
Mhm.
someone would have 4 lives of that experience.
Right. I think she was hard headed. In my opinion, she just wasn't taking the lessons from the life, and it's like, okay, fine, you liked it last time, great. We'll just write it in this time.
Right.
Um, so, what is your thoughts on why? Because if they're supposed to be separate books, why is the soul? And what do the guardians say about holding on to some of this stuff?
Well, really what they say is that it's easy to imagine them for us humans who like to be a little more linear, to
Hmm.
imagine a lifetime as a book. But
Hmm.
when we write our soul plan,
Hmm.
we say, what do I want to bring back into this life? What gifts and talents am I bringing forward?
Hmm.
What lessons do I want to learn? Who do I want to share my time with? What soul
Right.
contracts am I going to write? And so we're literally looking at that kind of whole earthly, usually earthly,
Hmm.
but sometimes galactic library, and saying, what is important for me to bring back in this life? And often they're karmic patterns that we haven't completed, and
Hmm.
often they're soul contracts with people who are part of our soul family, which means we really want to be together. And
Right.
so we have a lot of support contracts there with soul family members.
Hmm.
And often those soul family members step up to be the bad guy, to be the challenging human, to be
Right.
the whatever, we're
You are
wanting to learn. So if
right.
I'm trying to end abuse in the world, then I am going to ask one of my soul family members, hey, will you be that abusive, mom or dad or parent or
Right.
sibling or grandfather? It doesn't matter, right? Will
Right.
you be my abuser so that I can learn and grow and do my forgiveness and get the compassion and be able to help other people from those situations? And so we really are working together lifetime after lifetime, and they're not linear. It's not,
Right.
one life after another. We often will pull in a lifetime from 2 or 3 thousand years ago.
Right.
So bringing those gifts in, bringing those soul family members back into our life. So, even though we can say, we imagine a life, we imagine we're in this little body and that this is
Mhm.
it. And then, some of us think, oh, you're dead, you die, that's it, it's over. Or, um, but we're all connected. It's all connected, right? Of course, partly
Mhm.
just because we're all one, but your soul is a huge soul, a huge
Right.
oversoul. It's connected to all those little lifetimes.
Mhm. Yeah. So, let's talk about working on this side of the plane with the Akashic records. Because apparently, in public communication, elsewhere on the internet, in a little TikTok app, there are people saying, oh, I can just go in there and white out half your book, remove this, update this, whatever you want me to do, for $5,000 or for $2,000 and yada, yada, yada. It doesn't work that way, does it?
No, no, it absolutely does not work that way. And, I think one of the huge points is that we come to this earth plane, we come into this, dense, granted, three-dimensional world
Right.
because we love it here and we want to support other souls in learning and growing. And so a
Right.
lot of the it's about that growth. It's not
Right.
about, bypassing it ever.
Right.
So if you do not learn what you wanted to learn,
Mm-hmm.
then you'll come back and do it again.
Right.
So people who have really strong karmic patterns, because karma is not a punishment, it's something
Right.
you and the soul want to learn about. And so
Mm-hmm.
we come back until we figure it out. So
Right.
that means, and I've had plenty of clients who have said, I realize I'm stuck in this karmic pattern because every relationship I get into, the exact same thing happens, right? They start out
Mm-hmm.
nice and then they're freeloaders. They take advantage of me. They are abusive. And what's wrong? I'm like, well, what's wrong? It's about learning to value yourself as a
Yeah.
as a soul in a body. And until you can value yourself, no one else will. And this
Right.
is what this karmic pattern looks like for you, right?
Right.
Everybody's different. We're very unique.
Right.
So it's about learning that because we are these infinite souls. If we didn't want to learn and grow and have these experiences, we would have just stayed in the 12th or the 14th dimension and not come down here and embodied.
Right. Or played with it. But at the same time, when we're here, sometimes we're like, I don't know what the hell I was thinking. Why the hell did I schedule this? This is ridiculous beyond ridiculousism. I get that. How do we rewrite this? Okay. Then we go on the other side of that, and we have the mediums and the psychics or the clairvoyants or the channelers or whatever type. We'll just call us psychics that are actually working with Akashic. Hi, Brenda. Hi, Shannon. That are actually working within the records. We deal with our record keeper, or our guide goes and deals with the record keepers and, like, okay, I need to see this file. But it's not like they get to remove anything. It's like, oh, let's pull the file and let's start ripping pages out and throwing them in the trash can. You don't get to do that.
No, it would make your life basically moot, right? It
Right.
would be like saying, so whatever you did is now cancel, delete, right? Wouldn't that be nice if you could just be cancel, delete, cancel, delete, cancel, delete? Or it
Right.
seems to us that it would be nice, but it
Right.
wouldn't be nice because, again, you would just be coming back to learn, right? We don't come to be terrible people and get away with it. We don't
No.
come to be, be doormats and let everybody walk on us and be that way and just live with it. No, we come back again and again, kind of as a doormat is a possibility. But
Right.
to learn to step into our power, to learn to know that we truly are these infinite souls with so many gifts and so many talents and love and really abilities and power. We are powerful, ancient, wise, huge souls. So
Right.
when you can get that, you don't need to have someone erase some crap from your records, which they can't do anyway. So you're just being, silly
Well,
and taken for a ride,
right. Well, let's play it out. Because you've been to the Akasha. It's debatable on what, my guide says he pulls files from it. So we'll go with that. Let's play this out. We have some
Okay.
clairvoyant bullist who thinks that he can destroy records. What is going to happen?
Well, a couple things will happen. And so about 1,000 years ago, back during the Dark Ages, right?
Mhm.
Um, the people were doing whatever they wanted with the records. They were basically able at that point to access a lot of information
Mhm.
in the records for their own gain. So they would go win wars, they would go, steal people's gold or their jewels or whatever these people were looking for. The energy was so accessible back then that
Mhm.
people did that for a short while until the record keeper said, "Oh my gosh, these people are such a low vibration. They can't have access to this energy anymore." And they literally pulled the Akasha away from Earth so that pretty much no one could access the Akashic records any longer unless you were really, a monk, a mystic, a
Mhm.
seer, unless you really were of a very high vibration and high integrity.
Right.
So humanity lost access to the Akashic records for almost 1,200 years.
Right.
And that's when we found during the 60s,
Mhm.
the 70s, as the vibration of the planet was raising again, we're realigning into the new age, right? And
Right.
the age of Aquarius, and eventually
Right.
a golden age if we don't just up and decide to blow it for ourselves.
Well, we
And
have
that's really
sabotaging self behaviors, but anyhow.
yeah, right. But that's when the record keepers asked me, they said, "Will you help us re-anchor the energy back on the planet?"
Mhm.
And, so of course, I'm like, "Why me? Really? I'm busy. I have 3 babies." And they were like, "Well, you were one of us. You were a record keeper. You can hear us," right? Back then,
Right.
nobody was talking about the Akashic records. We had
No.
Edgar Casey, and then, maybe there was a couple of mystics here or there that were,
Mhm.
talking about it. But,
Not a
out of
lot.
5 billion people, maybe
Right.
maybe 50
And
people on the planet. Anyway,
yeah.
um, so that had been my intention, to help anchor the energy back, which is why
Mhm.
I've been writing books and doing
Right.
podcasts and on for the last 20 years.
Right.
So now it's re-anchored. Now it's a hot topic. Now we're in alignment again, that we really can access the Akash with greater ease, because the record keepers say this is everyone's birthright.
Right.
And everyone needs to do this through integrity,
Mhm.
or we'll pull the energy away again.
Yeah.
Right? So these are our choices now. So if
Right.
people really misuse the information and the energy, they act out of integrity, they
Mhm.
will certainly lose any access they had, if they even had any.
Right.
And if too many people do it, just like in the Dark Ages, they'll literally pull the vibration far enough away from the earth that we
Right.
won't be able to access it, except for, again, those great mystics or
The ones that really have what I call, they have the access DNA. Like,
right.
they have to have an emissary or whatever to access it. But like you working in the akashas and healing traumas, that is not what we're talking about.
No.
What this is not the same thing. They aren't on the same dimension. She isn't going to go in there and erase your life in the 1300s being a dungeon master. Get over it. You know, that's not what this book's about. But I wanted to take on this topic because people are getting scammed out the yazoo. And my God is going, are they nuts? You wrinkle one page and the guardians or whatever are on your ass.
Right. Absolutely. It is so important. So of course, you are never allowed to open someone's Akashic record without their consent, right? Without
Hmm.
their specific permission.
Right.
So even I've had clients and students over the years who say, "Oh, can we open my dead mother's records?" It's like, no. Why would you do that? You don't have permission. You cannot do that. Now, we can open your records with your permission, and we can ask about your soul contract with your mother,
Right.
because really that's what you're interested in. Why would I pick this mother? right? Why
Right.
would I have this challenging relationship with her? You don't have
Mm-hmm.
to open her records to get that information. That's in your
Right.
soul's plan. That's in your Akasha, right?
Exactly. But like, here's an example of an Akashic record. We can't go and pull Edgar Casey record and go, okay, why did it work this way for him?
Right. No, because you cannot go into Edgar Casey's records because
Right.
none of us have permission to
Right.
open his records, right?
Right.
So he had his specific gifts and talents.
Right.
He found a way in that time when the vibration on the planet was just starting to raise, right? Back in the 20s, 30s, 40s. But he found he could do it through a very deep hypnotic trance. But it
Right.
also took 3 people for him to access the records. He had to have his wife asking him questions. He had his secretary writing down the answers. And that's why they called him the sleeping prophet. He was in a unconscious kind of
Right.
sleep state of hypnotic trance. So now, right, when the record keeper said, please start a school, please teach people how to do this work,
Right.
they said, we will give you the
Mm-hmm.
energetic keys. We will give you the vibrational keys to open and move into the Akash while you're wide awake, not in a
Right.
hypnotic trance. And actually, one of the very cool aspects for me of this book, let me see if I can do that.
Yep.
I
We'll
like
figure out how to get that working. Yeah.
I have written a whole couple chapters about how to access your own Akashic records. And
Right.
so not only do I help people to really understand in greater depth what the Akasha are, who the record keepers are, how you can use your Akashic records, why you write a soul plan and why that matters, right?
Right.
And then there's beautiful stories in here. So 20 wonderful souls, some of my students who have accessed the records, some people that I've done readings for, and some people who access the records in different ways have written their story on how the Akasha changed their life, how they used it in their life and have had really transformational experiences. So
Right.
I love the story part. People can really relate to and understand in some ways how you can use this profound work.
Right.
And then, so those are parts 1 and 2. And then part 3, I actually teach you how to access your own Akashic records. And we talk more about the quantum field. We talk about the galactic Akasha. And, all of us are star seeds and where we're going from there. So that's all in this one book. So like I said, I kind of took so much of this wisdom that I have learned over the last 25 years
Right.
and put it in this book.
Right. And I think you touched on something really fast, and we'll take a break and come back to it. Different ways other people access the records. Let's talk about that when you come back, okay?
Okay.
Awesome.
Hey everybody, Lady Gwendolyn here from Rowan Temple of Light, and I'm here to tell you about our events this summer. First up is Beltane in the Hills, May 13th, and that is from 1 to 6. We have entertainment, we have a bunch of vendors, we have a fairy photo shoot. It's going to be exciting. You having any questions, reach out to Earth Magic or to myself. After that, we have Central West Virginia Pagan Pride, August 19th. That's at Holly Gray Park from 11 to 5 for the day. And we will have Sarah Masters coming down from Pittsburgh to be our keynote speaker. We have some great classes for that. So if you want to get involved, reach out to RowanTempleOfLight@gmail.com or just follow us along on Facebook at Rowan Temple of Light, and we look forward to seeing you out in the community. See you there.
Welcome back, Goblins! My name is Jason, and I am the host of the Esoteric Book Club, a podcast that examines titles on the magical, paranormal, the mysterious, and the strange. I release 2 episodes a month in which I review books on esoteric topics, recap news of the weird, and conduct interviews with authors, practitioners, and experiencers. The Esoteric Book Club can be found on every major podcast service or can be streamed directly from esotericbookclub.org.
Hi, I'm Aeson Knight. I provide tarot readings covering everything from love and relationships to your life questions and your most spiritual answers. And also, I provide a lot of guidance in finances and divorces and all those relationship problems. So, if you'd like to get a reading from me privately, not on air, you can feel free to do so by visiting aesonknight.com and booking your appointment. I also provide on-demand services, so if your life is a little chaotic, you can go ahead and click that Call Now button there on my site. It'll connect you to Keen, and if you've not been with Keen before, you'll get 3 free minutes to talk with me, so that's great for a quick answer question. All right, guys, back to the show. Enjoy. Bye, y'all.
Hi, I'm Tracy Van. I provide a blended reading consisting of mediumship, psychic, and tarot cards. A reading from me can cover any guidance you need from relationships with your partner or your family, spiritual, financial, any questions you may need clarity on. If you would like to book an appointment with me, check out my website, tracyvan.com. That's TracyVann.com. I have bookings from 15 to 60 minutes you may choose from. That helps if you just have a quick question, need an answer, or if you're looking for a reading in more depth, I'm here to provide the guidance and clarity for you. Let's just figure it out. Bye.
All right, welcome back. Okay, so how are some of the ways these people connect to their Akashic record?
So what I've seen over the years, I mean, I was actually a psychic energy healer when the Akashic record keeper started to talk to me. Now, way back when, it took me a couple of years to figure out who had that big booming voice and all of that huge information, because they weren't common back then, right? So there are people who definitely, like myself, have that kind of genetic access. I was an Akashic record keeper. I have met other clients and students who were also record keepers. Don't think there's that many of us, but they're not that few also. But of course, you know, there are some people who douse for answers and feel like they're accessing the Akash. There's some people who say, well, I ask my guides or I ask my angels and they get the information. So they kind of act as maybe a, mediator or emissary, and they'll go in and kind of access a little bit less directly. But, honestly, there's people who do guided visualizations, meditations, things like that, which is lovely. But I find that once we're in that kind of meditative state, you may have the experience of being in the Akasha, and it's lovely. And I even love to lead people through a guided visualization, but we're not in direct kind of communication, asking questions. So my intention is to always teach my students how to build a relationship with their Akashic record keepers, how to really start to ask questions to get direct answers to what they're curious or interested in. And so when we start to build the relationship and can consciously use that vibrational key to open the door and access the energy, speaking to our own Akashic record guides or record keepers, or I sometimes refer to them the masters of the Akasha. They're not ascended masters, so always important to differentiate. But then we can really get direct, very specific information and answers to our questions. So for me, it's the most direct, kind of using an access prayer, using a sacred key, learning to communicate, building a relationship with your record keepers. It gives you the most direct access, I think, that we can have.
Right. And it gives you the access that, you're able to build and grow. What things have we seen come out of this book?
So, to me, the kind of the understanding of who we are as infinite souls. And, of course, the exciting thing is that in this book, people can start to practice and learn. I teach my 5-step wisdom prayer system in part 3, along with quite a few of the meditative tools, the energy tools, the healing tools and healing prayers that I've channeled from the Akasha. So it's all accessible to you in this new book, Akasha. So you can learn to start to read your records and start to kind of practice with the energy and the processes that I teach in the book.
Awesome. Okay, darling. So where can they get it at?
Well, it is available, of course, on Amazon and Barnes and Noble around the world. So that's very helpful. And honestly, you can get it on my website and then receive 4 free Akasha gifts to help support your journey. So if you want to go to akashicknowing.com, and you'll find that right there on the home page, and you'll see, get 4 free gifts when you purchase the book now, or 4 gifts when you get it. So on my website, great place to order the book and get your gifts and learn more about the Akashic Records, of course, and what I offer, the readings I offer, and the live online workshops that I teach a couple times a year. So we've got some of that actually coming up.
Don't you?
I'm sorry?
You've got a live workshop coming up, I believe, don't you?
I do, absolutely. So it will start on September 18th, so not too far away. Live online, so easy to access from, anywhere in the world. And it's a deep dive. So I like to really teach, after all these years, so much information. So I teach it as a 16-hour workshop because
wow,
deep and profound work. And again, I'm a great believer in helping people to understand all these aspects of your soul's plan, of the Akashic Records, how you can use them to transform your life. It really is a vibrational healing tool, and really helps us in our own ascension here at this time of history, right? To help us create the new earth so that we can move from our old, the old paradigm of the 3D world into a higher vibrational, higher energy world of greater love, really. So that's part of the process that we can learn through accessing our own Akashic Records.
Very cool. And, with that, you interact with her. You also do services, actual readings.
Yes. Yes, I do.
It's like you can actually book with her. You can get a reading. You're one of the few authors that are still taking readings, that are still connecting and, doing the work.
I think it's important. So to me, it remains really important because when I do readings for other people, I download so much information because in their records, of course, they're asking different questions. They've had different kinds of lifetimes. They hold big collective contracts. Many of us hold different kinds of contracts. So I learn and grow when I do readings. And so to me, I think it's really important for us as we go forward to, always be students, no matter, how much I know. I'm like, there's more to learn because now the galactic Akasha is really opening. So it's easier to start to understand all of those lives on other planets, planes, dimensions, some of who we've been and what we've done and why that's important to us now, right? And so they're less random lives and more about how can I use that information? Did I come as an inventor to help, to heal the planet, to bring forward a new invention to help humanity with food, with water, with air, with, communities, whatever it is. So
Right.
it's really, really helpful to me
Mhm.
to stay in the energy. And of course I love people. So that's why I still teach the classes and do the readings, because it's
Mhm.
really a joy to hang out in that beautiful high vibration of just pure unconditional love, which the Akasha is, and to
Right.
bring people into that energy with me to teach them or to do a reading healing session. So
Right.
it's
Now you
profound
have a
work.
different service that I didn't expect there, but it's there, and let's kind of take a moment and talk about it. You have business services.
That's right. So I don't think that many people talk about it, but your business has a
Mhm.
soul. So if you're an entrepreneur, many of us are solopreneurs, or maybe we have a business with a partner or two,
Right.
but that business, actually, there's a soul to your business. Now, of course, you've got your soul, you've got your soul's plan, you wanted to bring gifts and talents to share with humanity, but that business that you are creating, it's same kind of an interesting thought. Your soul has a contract with your physical body in this life, just the
Hmm.
same as your soul has a contract with a business.
Right.
If not everybody does, but if you're called to create your own business, it's because you contracted with that energy that is part of the business. So you want to communicate with the soul of your business to, how can I support you? Is this, the highest and best path for me to really take you, right?
Right.
As we're doing whatever we're doing, if we're doing our marketing, or we want to have a new business partner, maybe we're starting a new online program, or whatever it is we're offering, we want to check in with the soul of our business and make sure we are in alignment with that soul of the business, so that we can come together really and walk that path together in the highest alignment that we can. So
Right.
I do Akashic business readings for owners of businesses.
Interesting. Interesting. And that's a new view, a new venue there, because a lot of people do not understand that. Yeah, psychics do a lot of business consulting. One, you can call it what it is, it's business consulting. And I find it interesting that you're starting to offer that out, and it's actually, clearly like, you're coming to work with the records of your business
Right.
type energy, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It can be so profound, really. I would say, well, of course, over all of these years that I've had my business,
Right.
and you realize I had a small healing center in the community where I live many years ago, and then the record keeper said, really, I mean, they stepped in and said, because you can hear us, we want you to start a school.
Mm-hmm.
So you access really the records of that school to be in a highest and best alignment with the school
Right.
that you're creating, that you're a part of, but you're not
Right.
the only part, right? And so over all these years, they come along, the record keepers, when I'm like, okay, so I've got my little healing center, I'm teaching classes, I'm doing this, and then they say, it's time to close the center, because there's so much more to the world now. So
Mhm.
probably about 15 years ago, I closed my healing center and really went online. They
Right.
said, we want you to access and help support people around the whole world.
Right.
You can't do that in a little healing center. So,
Well, you can't do that in a little healing center. You can't do that. Brick and mortar really limits the reader. It limits your reach. It limits your teaching abilities. You can only have 20 or 30 students, that type of thing. But do you ever miss it? The tangible classroom.
um, I'm going to say no.
Okay.
I have to say that this kind of thing, as a matter of fact, because I teach online, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I might have, 50, 75, sometimes 100 students on Zoom.
Right.
And I make time to let them ask questions, and then we can pull them up in this kind of one-on-one, situation on screen, so they can ask their question and I can answer it. Now, I'm
Right.
not doing readings. I'm talking about answering. I mean, I do readings on Zoom too, but in a big class, if I
Right.
have, 50 people around the world, that person who is wherever they are in Europe or in India or somewhere else in the world, they still get one-on-one time to ask their questions,
Right.
right there with me. And, you know, before the pandemic, honestly, I would do an occasional local workshop, but
Right.
yeah, I'd rather be able to teach 50 or 100 people around the world than just those 10 people who can get to Sedona to work in a
Right.
small group setting.
Right. And I think that you're able to give them more time, more focus, and it's less expensive. Because I
Right?
promise, unless you live in Sedona, you got to fly to Sedona, you got to Airbnb, hotel, or RV it. You've got to then make time for the class while like making up events for your children, your husband or whatever, because you ain't leaving, but you don't get to go by yourself normally on a spiritual getaway.
Honestly, luckily I do.
Awesome.
I know my husband's a sweetheart, 33 years later. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go teach in Sedona. You stay home with the dog and the cats.
Hmm.
You go camping or backpacking, that's his spiritual aspect, is really the
Uh-huh.
energy of nature. And so it's perfect when you can kind of
Right.
come to those kind of places, in a
Right.
relationship, because we're different. We're spiritually different. Everyone is, right? We've got our
Right.
own different aspects. So, um, mm, I might do a Sedona, or I might do another retreat here or there. I was just talking
Mhm.
with a friend about doing a nice little, 20-person retreat in Mexico. And
Ooh,
this
nice.
could be very, very fun, right?
Yeah.
Um, but there we are. It's a choice like anything. So I will do some of those in the future. Hopefully, we'll get to do more expansive kinds of,
Uh-huh.
you know, talks again now with all the books, and do some
Right.
bigger, groups. I think would be really fun to do too. But, this has worked out pretty well.
It has. The virtual's doing nice. I'm loving virtual. I went virtual. Um, Literally when the panini hit, I was like, let's just switch to virtual, and I
Right.
like my virtual much better.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my clients do too because they don't have to travel to me. But
Right.
guys, go check out her classes, get her services. She's really good. And again, that link is in our show description. It will also be in our live chat if you're with us. Thank you, Lisa, for joining me for a cup of coffee and talk about your new book, A Caution Knowing. I look forward when you bring back the next one, darling.
Oh gosh. Well, I think we're taking a little break for a year or two, but it has been a joy. I appreciate you having me on twice this year with my 2
I
books.
know.
So
When I got the email, I was like, I knew she'd be back.
check out Akasha.
Yes.
Wonderful book. Check out Your Soul Has a Plan. That's the other one that we talked about in January. People could go
Mm-hmm.
back and look for Your Soul Has a Plan.
Yep. It's on the playlist. Go check out the coffee
On the
shop
playlist,
playlist
right?
up there.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. So thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, darling. You have a great evening.
Thank you. You too.
Hi, this is Sandy Starr. I'm a psychic and I work on Keen, and I have been working on Keen for over 22 years. You can reach me on 01068. I deal with a myriad of subjects, but I do specialize in relationships, marriages, divorces. Is he cheating? Is she cheating? Whatever the dynamic of the relationship is, I will guide you through. I've got amazing radar for cheaters, so I will tell you the truth if he or she is cheating. I can help with any subject you need me to help you with besides relationships. And I look forward to hearing from you. Again, you can reach me through keying. My extension number is 01068. I really look forward to hearing from you and helping you with whatever you need me to help you with.
Hi, I'm Tracy Van. I'm a psychic medium and I work with tarot cards. I also practice Reiki and access bars. I would like to share with you what a reading with me is like. It is a blended reading of psychic and mediumship, and I deliver these messages exactly as they come through. I'm not going to mince words or add any padding. I am a professional, reliable, and honest communicator. I have readings available anywhere from 15 minutes to an hour. You can book a reading with me at tracyvan.com. That's TracyVann.com. And no, I'll always tell you exactly what you need to hear.
Hey everybody, Natalie here from The Pendulum's Path. If you are in need of guidance, direction, spiritual connection, healing, or more, you have come to the right place. I have worked as a psychic and a medium for over 3 years, connecting people from all over the world with their loved ones, giving them insight and guidance into their current situations, their past healings, their blockages, and what they need to know in order for them to have a better future. It would be my absolute honor if you would come to my website at www.thependulumspath.com. Visit my shop. I have a whole bunch of crystals, oils, balms, mystery boxes, and more. And visit my services. I offer 15-minute, 30-minute, and 60-minute sessions. I also have email readings available if you're not comfortable with the one-on-one session with me, or if you just want to try me out. I encourage you to come visit me at the Pendulum's Path, and let's get you back on the right track today.
Hey everybody, Lady Gwendolyn here from Rowan Temple of Light, and I'm here to tell you about our events this summer. First up is Beltane in the Hills, May 13th, and that is from 1 to 6. We have entertainment, we have a bunch of vendors, we have a fairy photo shoot. It's going to be exciting. You having any questions, reach out to Earth Magic or to myself. After that, we have Central West Virginia Pagan Pride, August 19th. That's at Holly Gray Park from 11 to 5 for the day. And we will have Sarah Masters coming down from Pittsburgh to be our keynote speaker. We have some great classes for that. So if you want to get involved, reach out to Rowan Temple of Light at Gmail, or just follow us along on Facebook at Rowan Temple of Light, and we look forward to seeing you out in the community. See you there.
All right, welcome back and welcome Instagram. How are you guys?
Yes, hello guys.
Hello. All right, so the second part of the show is also being simulcast over onto the Instagram. We're rocking that along. First part of the segment is actually an audience participation part, and it's Are You the Asshole? Now, this has come from Joe. We get to decide if he is the asshole. So I will start the poll over on Aeson Knight Live, and we can rock that.
All right. Ready for me to take it away?
Take it away.
Am I the asshole for saying my wife will have to quit her job if we get booted from another daycare? My wife and I have a 3-year-old daughter, Alexis. Both of us work, and Alexis has attended daycare since she was 1. In the 2 years since, we have been asked to leave 2 programs because my wife is a micromanager. I admit both of us went into the first program not really understanding daycare. I quickly learned that they can't provide personalized care, and after learning from her teachers, I reset my expectations. My wife, however, has a lot of anxiety and worries about our daughter. She hates when she gets even a little upset. She's in therapy and is working on it. First program, my wife would constantly watch the live feed and call the daycare multiple times a day. We had several talks about it, and the school talked to us twice. My wife ended up screaming at one of the teachers and then the director. We were terminated immediately. Second daycare was a little better because my wife began therapy, but my wife was still so nervous that she had a complaint every single day. These were not important things, small things like she saw another child took a toy from Alexis and she would cry. The teacher would give the toy back to Alexis, but my wife didn't understand why the other child wasn't punished for it. This daycare didn't kick us out, but did eventually suggest that this may not be the best program for us. My wife and I decided to pull Alexis out. My wife because of her anxiety, myself because I knew my wife had burned bridges and was becoming one of those moms. We chose a smaller home daycare this time as we couldn't afford another center. The woman who owns it is very nice, but also firm. She stands by her boundaries and won't let my wife break any rules, whereas the centers were definitely more accommodating. My wife would take any inch she got. This time, she doesn't get that opportunity. I thought all was well, as the owner only speaks to my wife for the most part. Then I get put in a group text saying my wife has been bombarding the owner with text every single day. Despite the owner saying she will text her at lunch when things are settled, she said at this point she will only be responding at specific times of the day and not looking at the rest. The owner then added the owner sent several pages of the contract with passages highlighted, reminding us of certain policies my wife had violated. I was pissed when Alexis went to bed that night. My wife and I talked. I said this was our last option for daycare. The other centers are too expensive, and this was the only home daycare in the area that we liked. A nanny is not in our budget. My wife made a million excuses, including that it's not her fault. She's anxious. I said if we are asked to leave this program too, my wife will be the one quitting her job to watch Alexis, not me. This upset my wife. I pointed out I've spoken to her kindly about this plenty of times. I encourage her to keep up her therapy, but she can't keep getting us kicked out of programs. My wife is now not speaking to me. Am I the asshole? Edit, I cannot be the primary contact for daycare due to not being able to have my phone on me at work.
Not the asshole. Furthermore, you can tell this is the first child for the one.
Oh yeah, that's clear. Oh, this one's clear. Yeah, I just gotta go. What was she? One, what were you expecting out of daycare? I mean, daycare, not, like this is a private, like, tuitioned child care / educational / 1-to-3 ratio of teachers to students.
Right.
At most.
Right.
Like, this isn't Mommy and Me, just minus Mommy with a paid substitute.
Right.
So, yeah, no. So I'm sitting here wondering, like, what were you expecting? And then two, how are you this stressed?
Right.
Like, I understand with a newborn. I can follow that.
Right.
Even up to a toddler. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, you're still a new mom. You're still, kind of getting to things. But 3? You're struggling this hard at 3? Like, my God, when this child turns 5.
Let's see what it's doing to the child. In my viewpoint, it's damaging the child.
Oh, yeah.
Mommy is reacting to ever social interaction that is normal for children. Someone takes a toy. Well, that's normal. Teacher takes a toy and gives it back. Right. Not only that, but she's not trusting the hired professionals that she has hired.
Right. Like, I'm just really trying to understand, though, like, what is the malfunction here?
Right.
Like, what is it you're looking for from daycare? 1. 2, with this much of an attitude, I really feel like you should have more strongly considered quitting your job.
Right.
Like, because what do you think's going to happen? Your husband's going to quit his and then deal with you all day long?
Right.
then I have this whole question about how does she work?
She doesn't.
I mean,
That's the whole
you
point.
can't
She
be
doesn't.
working.
Right.
Okay. Well, but she does. Like, she's
Well,
employed.
I
But
know.
she's also spending her whole day on the camera
Right.
watching this child in the classroom
Right.
or in the daycare room.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell?
Yeah. What's the level
I
of
mean,
the insanity here? Okay.
it
What
seems strong.
It is very strong.
That's a lot going on there. I definitely have to go with not the asshole.
Right.
Mostly because I can understand your exasperation at this point.
Right.
That not only you've been direct terminated from one program, you were
Right.
politely asked to go somewhere else by the second program, and now your home-based daycare
Right.
is pretty much at, here's a recopy of your contract.
Yes.
I have highlighted all your problems for you.
Right.
I don't think you're going to get many more opportunities here before
Right.
you're out of this program.
Right.
So, like, I think at this point it's almost too far down the road.
Mm-hmm.
Would be my only complaint. Like, I
Right.
think your wife needed this before the home daycare,
Right.
and I mean this strongly.
Yeah.
That you were like, look, she gets booted from this one. Good luck.
Right.
Enjoy your time at home, because I'm not quitting
Right.
my job.
Exactly.
Quitting
And not only that, but I think that, fine. You want to take care of Alexa at home? That's fine. I get home at 5, find a job where you can work 6 to 2.
Yeah.
A.M.
That works too. I mean,
Right.
I think that's kind of horrible to have to say to someone, but I don't think anything else is going in.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
and furthermore, I would sit down with the daycare provider and go, I am very sorry, my wife is doing this. Here's the situation. Use what boundaries you need necessary, and you are not required to reply to her text or answer her phone messages.
well, but here's the rub on that, is that this is still going to be the primary point of contact for anything that comes up.
Right.
So it's going to be a struggle to like, what do? Not answer the call from the mom that might be telling you she's running 5 minutes late or got into a horrible disaster? I mean,
yes.
I know she's hitting this boy who cried wolf, like, bar.
Yeah.
Of like, no one's going to reply to you, no one's going to listen to you, no one's going to pay attention to you. You have screamed to the high heavens over everything that has minorly inconvenienced your child.
Mm-hmm. And see, this
I
is
think
what happens when you have children that do not have siblings.
Fair enough. Like, well, and I think going back to what you said, it's obvious this is child number one.
Right.
But I also wonder, like, is she an only child, the mother?
Possibly. She sounded a little bit spoiled to me, but that's me.
Well, I mean, her
or
expectations are really out there.
Yeah. That, or you need to go find someone that's willing to be a free babysitter. Well, not a free babysitter, but a babysitter.
Well, I think more importantly, it's like therapy's like great. Therapy's great. Don't ever think I'm saying therapy is a bad thing. I think you need therapy boot camp at this point.
Right.
Because you got to get this under control. Like, you're jerking this little kid in and out of daycares. Like, they're having to navigate a whole new system of people.
Yes.
Like, she's young and resilient, and I'm sure at 3, young and resilient. But at some point, like, what are you going to do? Like, what is your plan for kindergarten up?
Right.
Like, are you just going to, like, keep moving till you find the perfect school that you'll never find? Like, what's your plan? What's your long-term thought process?
Right.
Like, so, yeah, I think not the asshole, most definitely.
in my opinion, not the asshole either. And I'm really fussing with my phone. Okay, I'm a little fussy.
I know, right?
Yeah.
All right. So Shannon's comments are, my husband's anxiety was worse than mine when it came to the kids. He was the one like, if you stay home, I'll work and do whatever you want.
Right.
But yeah, when the finances couldn't handle just his income, I worked nights, he worked days.
Exactly. Parents have been doing that for ages. And that's what you may have to flip your wife to. And that means that she may not be making the free income that she's been making. Because I don't know too many people that can just make the decision.
Oh, just like, oh, I'm going to work nights now.
No, I'm talking about the decision of, fine, if you blow this daycare, you're quitting your job. That's cute. What is she going to do? Stay home and take care of Alexa all day? What about her income? Where's it going?
True. Like,
Okay.
I mean, I would hope they're in that financial position, but I think it's more so a fact of, even if they're not, I think he's just trying to 2x4 her, which at this point is legit. With what else do you think we're going to do?
Right.
What? Because if you think I'm quitting my job so you can nag me all day, which is what I read in that.
Right.
Because I think if she's being this controlling over the daycare,
right,
I would hate to be her husband. I'd hate to be her husband, because there is probably nothing this man has done right since the day this child was born.
Right.
Or anyone. Or anything. But yeah.
Yeah. Oh. Really? Thank you for reporting that. Now, they've gotten a little bit more. Really? Okay. Viewers, be aware. We do not endorse anyone that is spamming you or sending you messages. This is freaking insanity. Now, granted, I blocked this spam botter, but they went on and messaged people. Really? We're at that level of stupid.
Hey, you know.
I know.
But thank you for reporting that. We do appreciate the screenshot that you sent. That always helps. Unfortunately, there's only so much we can do once we block them in show. It's just kind of
please block them yourself. That's why YouTube, Aeson Knight on YouTube, where the poll is, which I'm going to post over onto the Facebook comments. I got to figure out how to do that for Instagram. We haven't gotten there yet. Like, we've just started this Instagram live thing. Hoping to be able to move over to TikTok live once I get 1,000 followers over there, or you get 1,000 followers over there.
Maybe I should go double check.
Because it seems like everyone's getting 1,000. Right.
Yeah, like you've been, like, you were there on, like, I don't know, day 3 of TikTok, and it's just been an uphill climb, like a slugfest the whole way for like every subscriber.
Alexa, I do need help on TikTok. I need 1,000 followers. That's what I need.
I'm not sure.
Well, her thinks she's not sure.
Yeah.
But Alexandria might be able to help us. So yes, please.
Yes.
Do your magic.
Okay, let's move over to relationship advice. This one's interesting.
All right. So my 41 male wife, 40 female, isn't loving my new friend group. My wife and I have been together for almost 20 years. We met in university, and since we both moved for school, we always had the same group of friends. As we got older, this naturally transitioned to us mostly having couple friends. Our marriage is pretty solid. We still love each other very much, and there's been no hints of infidelity, but I can't say we haven't become a bit set in our ways. A few years back, I made some big changes to my health and fitness and starting running regularly. My wife was generally supportive, but at times I could tell she was a bit put off when I got in the way of something she wanted to do. About 6 months ago, I joined a running group. We meet on Thursday nights for a run and then get drinks after. It's a mixed group with age ranges from 28 to 42 and various relationship statuses. I really get along with these folks and have become friends with a number of them. This means I generally stay out later on Thursdays and have hung out with them on separate occasions as well. It's been amazing to meet a new group of friends at my age, and they share a lot of interests with me that my wife just doesn't like. For instance, we did a weekend kayaking trip recently, which my wife would absolutely not have been on board for. My wife acts like she's cool with me hanging out with these folks, but I can tell she doesn't love it. I get it. I'm suddenly staying out late and spending weekends away with a bunch of people she doesn't know, and that includes some younger single women. That said, I'm absolutely open about everything, and there's nothing funny going on. I'm not sure it's even jealousy of that sort, but rather she'd rather I just be home and available at all times in case she wants or needs me for something. She started acting passive aggressive about anything that involves plans with the group. We have a shared calendar, and if something's going on and we have nothing planned, I'll add it in. Aside from Thursday night, these events really only happen every few weeks. If we have other plans pop up, it's like she intentionally tries to plan over these events rather than just saying we're busy and looking for another free night. Recently, she got a bit upset with me for going to my regular running night after she returned from a work trip. She told me repeatedly that she was exhausted and was going to go to bed early, so I thought it would be fine, but then got some passive-aggressive texts, so I cut out early and went home to spend time with her. We then sat on our phones, not talking, with the TV on for 45 minutes before she went to bed. I've tried including her in some of my activities in the past, but she'll mostly just complain and then make excuses to not do them again. She doesn't have a separate friend group of her own, but is very close with a lot of her colleagues, and anytime she goes to a work event, which are pretty frequent, I can count on her not answering her phone and coming home pretty drunk very late at night. It doesn't upset me at all, and I trust her. For my part, I will admit that I selfishly don't really want to involve her in my friend group at this point. They're new friendships, and I don't want to change the dynamic. I also know that she won't have a lot in common with these folks. If I'm honest, I also worry a little bit about her sabotaging things. I don't really know how to proceed at this point. I really don't want to give up my new friends, but I don't know how to work through this with my wife. All right.
Well, this happens a lot in relationships. There's friend groups that are different, and it's healthy to have separate friends. She was threatened. Okay. And here's the thing. I think you have to hold boundaries. Like, nope, Thursday nights at 6 o'clock, I'm going for a run, and then I'm hitting the bar with my friends. You can go do whatever. Have a girls' night. Have whatever. But this is where I'm standing at. And I think that can be very, very difficult to do.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and I think she's stuck in that like late 30s, early 40s thing where you're working really hard. You've kind of lost touch with some old friends. You don't really have a lot of time with your new friends or your current friends because you're all kind of stuck in the rat race.
Right.
And then you're just kind of having this moment where it's like, well, how the hell did you meet new people?
Right.
You're not allowed to meet new people. I can't meet new people. How'd you meet new people?
Right. But,
And, okay, well,
and this is something we're going to have to get from Joe's perspective.
Okay.
What was it? 3 years ago, I said, I'm done. I'm going back to the gym and we're changing diet, and I've got to get my shit together. And I've done that. Where's your level of envy? Not jealousy, but envy there.
I don't really have one.
I know. You don't care.
I'm just like, okay, have fun. Like, whatever. But then again, this is where I often come back with, like, I don't have, like, jealousy. Because I'm, like, I joke around with, like, take my husband, please. Just like, you'll bring him back.
Yeah.
But more so, my thing is, with relationships in general, is like, I've watched too many people try to get really like micromanaging, controlling, and play the petty game, and then the relationship blows up.
Right.
Because they were controlling, they were micromanaging, and the pettiness all devolved it straight down the toilet. So, like, I quickly got to, like, you know what? If I'm going to be in a relationship, this is probably because I'm with someone that I actually want to be happy.
Right.
Like, not just that I want to be happy with, but I want them to be happy.
Right.
And if that's not with me, if that's with someone else, if that's with whatever else, you know, like if it's kayaking or going to the gym or eating cauliflower nonstop and forcing me to eat cottage cheese.
I did not force you to eat cottage cheese. First of all, you have known every time cottage cheese has been in something, you actually cooked it. What was it? Yesterday for lunch.
Yes, I did. But like, I'm giving you grief. But no, like if that's like their thing, or if that's what is better for them, like I mean, you know, if he were going to, you know, like a park in the middle of the night to shoot up meth,
right,
I'd have a problem.
Yeah,
like that's not cool. That's not what I signed up for. That's really not good for you. We have to make some boundaries and limits and decisions here because I'm not hanging.
Right.
But like, you know, oh, I'm going to the gym. It's like, well, okay, cool. Have fun.
Yeah.
Rock on. Enjoy that. I hope it's a great gym trip. Now, if that's a cover for something else, you know, like, what am I supposed to do? I'm not going to walk around trying to follow you and snoop on your phone and check your messages and like, screw that. If that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. And I hope you enjoy it and have fun and find what you're looking for. Is where I'm at. That's why I don't really have that moment where like I'm sitting here like, I can't believe you're going to the gym again. Did you forget your gym bag this time? Did you, you know, like.
Right, but then you have the other side of this, you know, because this is what this wife has gone through. Because Joe's kind of gone through the same thing. Changed my eating habits. I now have a personal trainer. We have massage appointments. You know, there's been a lot of self-care that wasn't originally here. Some of it you've been like, okay. Like, I'm sorry, you weren't a fan of getting a massage with Eric.
Okay, pause. I was sitting here having major difficulties with, we're going to be spending $125 a month per person for massages. Are we crazy?
Yeah.
Like, are we those people? Like, we have standing massage therapy appointments that we pay on a group or on a subscription, you know, bulk rate. We're buying a 4-pack of massages each month.
Yeah.
I'm like, I didn't expect to have this moment in my life, like literally ever. And then like you bring it up and I'm like, no, I'm fine. I don't need this. I'm good. I'm not these people. And then like, yeah, we went and I went and I was like, okay, fine. I'm these people. Like this is, I kind of need this. Yeah. No, what really wasn't the I don't like strangers touching me. Like,
no, it was
I didn't even have a problem
when did we get this? And now I think he would battle with me.
I mean, if it were like willy-nilly, like, you know, like if it were just random, like, I don't think you should go see Eric.
Right.
I would be like, okay, like go take a Midol and a nap and come back at me again with that because I don't know what this is. Because where did that come from? Like, you know, like I don't know what's going on in your head, but maybe you need a nap.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But I'm saying that, you've seen positive changes with me, with Eric. You've seen, and then today I'm going to give you brownie and husband points.
Okay.
Because I've always been flexible. Like, I can move appointments or whatever we need to make our schedule work with the one vehicle. And you were like, no, we're done with this.
Yeah, that's just the wall I hit and have been.
And it was an
like,
amazing wall.
Do what now?
It was an amazing wall.
Well, yeah, because usually I'm pretty flexible on stuff, and it's like, okay, whatever. Like, I'm a people pleaser with a knack for technology.
Mhm.
That's basically me in a
Right.
nutshell. And
Right.
so, like, okay, and no, I'm just like, the original plan for this was not long term.
Right.
I really didn't think it was a long term forever plan.
Right.
Which I don't think it's a forever plan. It's just we're down the road now. Like, we're multiple years down the road.
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting here going, we've got to make this work with our life. We cannot be bending our life around this.
Right.
Like, it's not working anymore. It's
Right.
just making everything so out of control, complicated.
Right.
To try to make plans and set them in stone and like have repetitive events and things that we're doing, and then have like this chaos of appointments that are not doing what I need them to do.
Right.
Which it's like, hey, I'm glad to come down and do that. But if you want me to do that, you got to work within like my ranges here.
Right.
This is when I'm available to do it. I can't just drop everything.
Right. But what I'm saying is, because the things that are like immovable is my trainer and my massage. And you're like, nope, we ain't moving those. And I'm like,
yeah.
You're doing the exact opposite of what this wife is doing.
Basically.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
It's like, nah, we're not scheduling over that. Like, I'm done with that.
Yeah.
Like, no, we've rescheduled a lot of things. Like, I've flexed all I want to flex.
Yeah.
Like,
but, so from my perspective, my advice is no, hold to it. Put it on the calendar, every event, everything. You're going away for 6 days to Kauai to run the volcanoes of Hawaii, and you are taking and working an extra shift at work to pay for it. Put it on the calendar. Wifey don't like it, tell her to work extra for her goal.
Well, or just accept that, like, and this is hard, I know, in relationships, is that a lot of couples get together and they don't ever have an exit strategy.
Right.
Like that moment where they're really going to sit down and have a true, honest-to-God conversation about, is this working anymore?
Right.
Like, what's the long-term viability here?
Right.
Like, which is a really horrible thing to have to hear from your partner, and I get that. I totally get that.
Right.
But that's a lot calmer discussion.
Right.
Than after you've made the ammo list, and one night when you get home from work, when you least expect it,
yeah,
here's both barrels of everything you've done wrong in the last 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years.
Right.
And the reasons I want a divorce.
Right.
No one wants that either.
Right.
So I always think there's a middle ground where you do have to kind of go, like, has this been its season? Or do we have a next? Like, how do we work together for next? Like, we did the 20, we got our 20-year badge, we unlocked the 20-year, achievement level.
Right.
Like, is that it for us? Or do we have another 10 and another 20 and another 30?
Right.
So I think that's also got to be part of this too. Is, are you starting to drift apart?
Right.
And before you sit there and just beat each other up,
right,
for, she always tries to screw with my friends group, and he's always out with his friends group, and I don't know, he's probably running around with some girl, and blah blah blah
Right.
blah blah.
Right.
Before you head down that,
Right.
stop and reevaluate.
Right.
Is that maybe part of the problem?
Interesting. Some of the extents she's gone through here.
Oh no.
I like going deeper.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
All right. So there's been the passive aggressive comments.
Yeah. Well, passive aggressive text. Then she said. Then he skipped when she got back. He immediately went home. Left an event early, despite the fact that I bought all of the gear when she scheduled a dinner on the same day. Skipped Thursday night going to go on the latest trip with her. Skipped running all week to prep for this trip. Then skipped another Thursday night when she said she wanted to stay a few extra days.
Okay. So, yeah, I think you really have to have a conversation that starts with the words, what do you want?
Right.
And I don't know any nice way to ask your wife that is, what do you want? Like, what is your insecurity? What is your fear of abandonment? What is going on?
Right.
Because, give me another nail to hang my hat on here.
Mm-hmm.
There's not many things left.
Right.
What is it you're looking for? Or are you like calling this the death of our marriage, and you're trying to see if I will give up running for you?
Right. Well, and I think
it's
because he has completely changed his life. He quit a job he hated. He has lost weight. In losing weight, he found activities that he's in love with, like running and friends group and weightlifting, different things. He's done a lot of he's done the Mel Robbins recreation, basically.
Okay. Now, in that quitting a job, did he recruit? Did he go find a new career, find a new job, find a new thing?
Right. Yeah.
Or is he rocking the stay at home?
No, he's in a new job. He's in a new career. He's in everything else.
All right. Did he effectively match the or exceed the previous income?
Yep.
Okay. Because I'm sitting here trying to run a checklist of maybe it's not about the running, maybe it's about the career.
Right.
I could see that. If you suddenly had, in addition to,
right,
I'm joining a gym, we're setting up massages. Also, we're going to be eating, different foods. Also, I quit all the networks, and I'm going to go work at McDonald's now.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not going to, I'm going to have issues with your gym membership.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think we can all quickly figure out that, trying to replace network income
mm-hmm.
with McDonald's income is gonna leave a gap.
Right. A very large
so I'm gonna have issues. Okay, how you've gone crazy. And it's not that I care about your gym membership per se.
Right.
I just don't know how we're supposed to afford all this crap.
Right.
With the deficit in income while trying to manage all the bills we had.
Right.
Now that I could see as a spousal argument.
Yeah.
That's a legit,
but he's literally done a recreation.
Okay.
Okay.
So reinvention.
Yeah.
So really, it sounds like instead of inspiring her to take a look at her life and be like, is this what I want?
Right.
It's it sent her into some weird spiral.
Yes.
Depression, but not really.
Right.
But maybe.
Yeah.
Coupled with resentment.
Right.
And a few other things going on there.
Right.
Is he going to replace me? Maybe it has set off some paranoia for her.
good possibility. You know, Shannon's got
Yeah.
a few comments on this.
All right. So Joe's just like, you'll get sick of his attitude eventually. And hey, we work hard to find ways to disguise the texture. Are we talking about Aeson's attitude, or are we talking about the cottage cheese? I just want to ask for
The
clarification.
cottage cheese.
So yeah, but Shannon says, I get a massage every month because it's all I can squeeze in, but if I could do it more often, I would. I like my massage therapist though. Other folks there, I'm just, where's my girl? LOL. You have to look at how often men change their lifestyle and their friends and job, and there's enough truth in the stereotype of him thinking he's upgraded his life, so he's going to update his wife.
That's a possibility, but there's also, I would say, looking at his age group, something called a Saturn return that hits people really hard. And when they hit that Saturn return, it's normally late 30s, early 40s, or if they're late people, meaning they were born later in the year, it'll be, 40s to 50s. And that's when there's a juxtapositional shift in everything. They look at it and go, I don't like any of this.
Like, I did what I was supposed to do. Now I'm going to do what I wanted.
Right.
Okay.
Like,
fair enough.
For example, me, I'm sick of the networks. I'm sick of, doing 5-second readings. I want to do 3-day readings. I want to teach. I want to do this. I'm tired of all this. I'm going to go back into the corporate world and start managing HR.
All right, that's a choice.
What? I could be a diversity coordinator in a heartbeat.
Okay. Oh, that'll be interesting.
Yeah. Me as HR? Nope, you're fired.
Pretty much. Pretty much. Yep. Pretty much.
I don't think so, Susan. Try to get a new one.
Oh, no. See, this is the problem with HR Aeson. HR Aeson is going to be like, oh, they're stealing your lunch. Put some eye drops in it. It'll be fine. They'll never do that again. Or we could get I've got belladonna in my backyard. I could bring some in. That's my problem with the idea of you and HR is like you are going to be the instigator of so much in that office.
But we will have employees that love us and work for us forever.
Oh, yeah. Brenda wants to know, 3-day readings, how many past lives are you reading?
Reader summits. They're amazing. I'm getting ready to pull off a tarot power summit at Earth Magic in September, Brenda.
Mm-hmm. And Shannon definitely does not recommend Reaper hot sauce and also agrees that eye drops are your better choice.
See, I always had the opinion of if someone is going to steal your lunch, then make it a good lunch for them.
Oh, Lord. What, pray tell?
Well, first you start out with a hot dog salad sandwich with relish included. Then you make sure that you get the healthy yogurt in the little tub that you're going to pre-package with some level additional flavorings. And of course, they need to have a little bit of fruit, so make sure to get some prunes.
Okay, so basically it's the vomit inducing lunch from hell.
Uh-huh.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Like if you make it through that and don't just throw it away, like you've done this to yourself.
Yep. And then of course you've got to give them a sweet. So I suggest those little coconut cookies with pickle juice and the mandarin cherry on them. They're lovely.
Well, there you go. Oh, Shannon says, someone made the mistake of stealing my lunch twice. First time I said, Second time I put in the hot one Apollo hot sauce. They didn't steal my lunch after that.
No.
Again, fair enough.
Yep.
Fair enough. I don't know. I never had anyone in our office steal my lunch. Our work refrigerator had the inverse problem
Okay.
of people would bring lunches and forget them.
Uh-huh.
And so there was literally a monthly required clean out.
Right.
Of, will you please go to the refrigerator at the end, like, because our director did this on Fridays, like once a month, and she would on that Friday be like, clean out the fridge. If it is yours, take it home. Otherwise, it will be thrown away. And she would still have to spend a good 20 minutes just hauling lunch bags and boxes and lean cuisines and just hauling them out.
Yep.
Like no one, yeah, out of sight, out of mind was our refrigerator's motto.
Ooh, Brenda has a lovely idea.
Oh, so yeah, for Brenda's father's workplace, stolen chocolate covered peanut butter balls equaled river mud rolled into balls and put in lunch. Beef puked. Fair enough.
Yeah. Of course.
Oh.
Yeah. Forgetful Aunt Mary's tuna fish salad, feline specialty.
Oops, wrong can. So Shannon, referring to my office experience, was ADHers. Got it. Yeah.
And other ADHers.
Well, of course, then again, this was also the workplace that we had new hires start at 8 a.m. And we took bets throughout the day as to when they'd quit. As in, like, there were people that would occasionally win the office pool with like 8:15 a.m. Like, as in, they're gonna make it to 8:15 a.m. today before they quit.
Wow.
Yeah. And not just like one person, we'd hire groups. And sometimes it would be like 4 or 5 of them would quit by 8:15 a.m.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. So, guys, I'll be on network all week. Of course, we have Coffee and Tea with Tracy on Thursday. Joe will be back with me with Mountain Bears, and we'll be streaming that all live over on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. So you can have multiple ranges to join us there for Mountain Bears. And, of course, we'll be back on Sunday with Psychic the Clans on YouTube. But also with that, we want to thank our Patreons. Here we go.
All right. So, of course, we want to thank Beverly Walker, Mika G, Kathy, Mary Winfield, Brenda, Shannon C, Shannon D, Lady Gwendolyn, Charles Shaw, Tracy Van, Caitlin Bell, and Devin. If you'd like to learn more about us, the show, or how you too can become a Patreon sponsor and receive all the wonderful benefits our baristas receive, please visit us at pcspnetwork.com.
Yeah. Make sure to check out cautionknowing.com for Lisa's new book. She was on earlier on the YouTube show. And with that, y'all, good night.
Good night.